Yo, dudes, what's going on? Good morning. Terrence here. Let me throw on my headphones real quick. It's, we're going to be chatting. Um, there we go. So, if you guys caught my earlier video, you should know that today we are getting ready to chat about the gig economy and what the gig economy is. And so I switched up locations a little bit. You guys saw me at Starbucks. I'm still drinking my coffee. But as we look to wrap up 2018, one of the things that Food Tribe is looking to do is potentially get some office space. So I am here at Spaces El Segundo, which is not too far away from my place. My place here in El Segundo, as well as at Starbucks that I was just at. And this is actually the second co-working location that I've had the chance to check out. And I would say over the past week, I checked out another location on Friday. Eventually I plan on going to South LA. There's some really exciting things happening in South LA. From both like a cultural perspective, a technology perspective, and an entrepreneurship perspective. And so, as I look to, or as we look to, migrate or merge into 2019, it's super important for me that Food Tribe, the place that we work out of, the place that we go every day, is really in line with like our values and our mission and who it is that we want to be, which is part of the conversation today, right? We're talking about the gig economy and just what the hell the gig economy is. And so, before we dive too much into it, I certainly think that, you know, personal connections, personal stories are more important than just about anything. So, if you follow me, if you're familiar with Food Tribe, if you're familiar with Startup Sharks, like I've been doing this for about 2 years and I've been busting my ass. Like this is hard. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it necessarily, I think that it's part of the equation. Launching your own business is part of the equation, but it's not nearly as, it's not nearly as easy as I thought that it was going to be. And let me tell you why. Again, I'm in El Segundo right now. I'm about a 10-minute walk away from my old office building. And let me tell you guys, I was living the dream. I actually had a good chance to hang out with some of my old coworkers this past weekend. We had some dinner, we had some drinks, we got to catch up and talk about the good old days. Before before I guess we realized what exactly it was that we had. And so just to kind of paint the picture for you guys, I've been working in startups for over 12 years, right? I've actually, going back to my job history, I've been working since I was like 15. First job I ever had, if you count the lawnmower business I launched in my neighborhood in elementary school, actually, I take that back. I also I took advantage of my brother's model, and I used to sell candy in high school, but I ate up all the profits, so I guess that doesn't really count. But I worked at Taco Bell, and ever since I was like 15, I just had jobs. I've worked. That's just what it was in my family, and so. I've always had that kind of entrepreneurial bug, which is why I got involved in startups. So I was going to college, I got kicked out of school because I wasn't handling my business. And also I think that school is not necessarily for chumps, but it's just not built for everyone. But I got kicked out of school and I was living at home and I was overweight, unhappy, not doing what I was supposed to do. And, I was living in my parents' garage. One day, mom's comes to me and she's like, you know what, you got to do something or you can't live here. So she made me get a job. And so that was my first foray, into startups. I took a job with this guy named Ryan Blair as a result of, again, somebody taking a shot on me, my friend Rochelle. And, from there, I was hooked. it was awesome being able to work for a really small team, and to see like the direct impact of your efforts. And so, after my experience working with Ryan Blair and Rochelle and that whole crew, that was basically my trajectory, right? I was never really that guy that was interested in working for a multi-million dollar company that was like already established. I always wanted to be a part of something small, something that was growing, something that was exciting, something that I could put on my resume and be like, yo, dude, you did that, right? I never wanted to be a cog in the machine. And so, just kind of coming full circle, right? That last job that I had, Dedicated Media, I mean, guys, it was just like the perfect. It was just the universe aligned itself, right? In addition to having some really dope coworkers, like shout out to David Palmer and Scott Yamano and Chris Berman and Holly Martin and Courtney and Tiffany and Ben and Steve and I mean, these are like lifelong friends that I'm gonna include in my life forever, right? Like once Food Tribe blows up, and I need to fill in some roles, I definitely know who I'm picking or the phone that I'm picking up and who I'm going to be calling, because again, like people for me is super important. Like with any career choice, right? Like who wants to go to work every day and not like the people that you're working with? That sucks. Well, I was blessed in that way, right? In addition to not really being qualified for the job, guys, I was killing it, right? It was a sales job. So, in addition to having, a six-figure salary, I mean, I was doing like all this really cool stuff in terms of like, traveling to Atlanta, traveling to New York, and meeting with different clients, and, having like really great meals, and, hosting, and like doing all that really cool stuff that, it, it felt like it was more than just the job for me, right? Like I was becoming friends like with my clients, which was also awesome, right? Like what else can you ask for? So I loved my job, I loved what I was doing, and I also loved the people that I was working with, right? And so if you're anything like me, which I hope that you're like me in some ways, and not like me in others, but I think that this is just typical of people. You know, when things are the same over and over again, like we tend to get bored, right? Like, uh, I think that we all like challenges. Like challenges are both like something to both acknowledge and something that you should pursue. And I think that that is the trap that we all kind of get caught in, right? It's like if something's challenging, we want to acknowledge that it's challenging, maybe, unless you're super prideful. But then I think the other part of that is like the action that or your response, right? Do you rise to the challenge or do you kind of shirk away? And so during my time at Dedicated, I was there for about 4 years, which is just about longer than any other position that I've ever had. Well, I started noticing that I wasn't as excited about the role anymore. I wasn't excited about facing those challenges, and ultimately, my work suffered. So when I went on vacation and I got fired, you know, I was actually lucky in that, I had felt this pulling, this stirring in my heart telling me that, I needed to search for something different, right? And so before I got fired, that's what I did. I took a 1 day course at General Assembly. You guys should know this story by now. And at General Assembly, I learned, my passions, like, what I was good at, the type of impact that I wanted to have, and the lifestyle that I wanted to live, right? So what I was good at, well, I'm a marketer, I'm a salesperson. I can build teams, I can hold a vision, I'm a leader, right? I can follow through. What sort of impact did I want to have? Well, I love food. I love to eat. Feed me. Feed me. You know what I'm saying? I love to eat. So I knew I wanted to be involved in the food space, right? Giving back was also super important to me. I wanted to give back. And the last thing, lifestyle. Well, for me, when I was working at Dedicated, when I was working at all those other jobs, well, like the lifestyle was good at one point and then it changed, right? Like as my taste changed, as my, the things that were important to me started changing, well, things that, that I wanted in my lifestyle were different. So now, at that point, what was super exciting for me? Well, it was like being able to travel. It was about being able to work remotely. It was about working on projects that I wanted to work with and clients that I wanted to work with, right? And so when I got fired from my job, well, thank God, thank God, I already had an idea, right? I was already like putting my effort, my time, my energy into, something else, right? But that's not a luxury that a lot of people have. A lot of people don't know what they're good at. They don't know what their impact is. They don't know, the type of lifestyle that they want to have. And that's simply just a matter of not asking yourself like those hard questions. And so that's the purpose of today's conversation. Now, I really, really wanted to share a deck with you guys, but I don't think that Facebook Live is quite there yet. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to open the deck on, um, my slide, and then I'll be sure to drop it in the comment section if you want to check it out a little bit later. But basically, it's just, I want to give you guys some insight into this thing called the gig economy. And the gig economy is really what allowed me to make that transition from, company man, somebody that was working for someone for 12 years to, independent contractor, and someone that is launching a business, someone that has generated 5 figures in revenue in less than 1 year, right? Someone that has had the opportunity to travel to, I spent this past summer in France, 6 weeks in France, working for my company, servicing my clients, building my client base, all that good stuff, right? I plan on going to Mexico City because I want to learn how to make tacos. I told you guys I love food. So, my plan is this December, I want to, at least my goal, knock on wood, is to travel to Mexico City and spend New Year's out there, and then also study under some chefs so that I can, get a little bit or develop deeper relationships with the clients that I'm looking to service. So that helps with my product development and my service offerings later. But also, like, I mean, I've heard some pretty incredible things about Mexico City. And if you have the opportunity to pick up and live in a completely new city, meet some new people, try some new things, I mean, why the hell not, right? I'm not married. I don't have any kids. Only real responsibility I have is to my family, to my company, and to the people that I'm looking to service, right? So, um, but if I'm so lucky, you know, why are so many other people taking advantage of these opportunities? What I'm doing is not unique, right? I've seen so many entrepreneurs that are doing these really incredible things. My friend Ramona of WeUp, she just launched this, like, I mean, number one, she's probably one of the brightest people I've ever met in my entire life. But in addition to running this company, We Up Women, which is a technology company with her brother, or We Up, excuse me, um, she she just got done with a international tour where she took her company, her brand, on the road and was prototyping it, and was selling through sponsorships, and was taking advantage of a local infrastructure in order to get the word out about her company. And my friend Tatiana runs a company called Road to Art Done. And Road to Art Done a couple of years ago, or it might have been last year, they did some really incredible stuff in terms of going on a road trip where they traveled to different locations in the United States to talk about their mission, their values, and get in front of their stakeholders, right? So, you know, how are, I mean, entrepreneurship, launching a business has been around for a very long time. But how are entrepreneurs, my question is, be able to make the jump from company person to independent contractor to startup person rather seamlessly, right? And the biggest thing for me, and you guys tell me, I mean, it's a couple things, right? First of which, this go, this guy, iPhone, right? Don't roast me. I was getting roasted this weekend for having an iPhone 6. Look, I didn't upgrade to the X or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a startup phone. I'm trying to keep costs down. I don't need the shiny gadgets. But but the iPhone, the phone, has completely changed the way that we interact, the way that we communicate, the way that we're able to get stuff done, right? The laptop that I'm on right now, the internet, it has completely changed the way that we do business. And so, if you are someone like me who is constantly looking to press the boundaries, who's interested in doing what makes you happy, servicing the people that you want to service, well, then I want you to continue to listen, right? So I've been talking a lot. Do me a favor, if you are, we've had some people coming in and out. If you are watching the replay, if you're coming in live, just drop like a quick hello, say what's up. just a couple more minutes. I want to talk to you guys really quickly about the gig economy, why you need to know about the gig economy, and ways to participate in the gig economy, right? But I do have some notes, so I just want to make sure that I'm getting through everything. So if you're watching this later, again, my name is Terence. If we're new friends, nice to meet you. But I've worked with startups doing everything from closing $1 million deals to launching new products, right? I've worked with startup founders like Ryan Blair, who taught me the best ways to build a brand and a company. And I saw these guys make their dreams come true, right? Ryan Blair sold his company to his mentor, and that was included into the portfolio of $1 billion company. Savings.com, which I helped build, they were acquired by Cox Media for $100 million. And so the founder is doing God knows what. He's doing whatever it is that he wants to do. Well, I saw those patterns and I was like, I asked myself, well, why am I not having the same results, right? Well, it was just a matter of perspective, and it's a matter of, figuring out, again, kind of who I was in the life that I wanted to live, right? And from there, I was able to use the power of the internet to reverse engineer the life that I wanted, right? And so that's why I'm doing this, guys. Like, I'm committed to a growth mindset. I was actually having a conversation with one of my entrepreneur friends just yesterday. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this, like being a weirdo and going live on Facebook and talking to you guys for an hour, is because I want you guys to not have the same type of challenges that I had, right? I made some failures, in terms of not being ready for a crowdfunding campaign and not really knowing when and how to hire my first employee, and figuring out ways to take my current book of customers, at the time at least, my past set of customers into my new world, right? And so if I had known some of those things, well, this journey would have been so much easier. And so these are the types of things that I want to teach you, right? So in addition to launching my new Facebook group this upcoming, at the end of the year, I'm also going to be releasing a new online course for you guys, right? One of the chapters you can find in the description of this Facebook Live message. It's going to teach you 5 sales tips in order to get your startup strategy in line. But I'm creating a bunch of content. Like, I'm going full ham mode when I go to Mexico City, and even now, so I'm doing a lot of the prep work. But the idea is I'm going to have anywhere from 20 to 24 modules designed to teach you ways to take advantage of the gig economy, so that you can go from 9-to-5 employee to independent contractor to gigster to side hustler, and then all of a sudden, if we're doing this right together, well, we're on a trajectory to be successful startup founders. My goal for Food Tribe is to be $1 billion company. I want to be in South LA, servicing my customers out there, creating new infrastructure, having impact out there, and I want to do that through my company, right? And there are ways to do that by capitalizing on some of the tools, the resources, and the technologies that are already existing. And the great thing is that you can do this now, right? The gig economy happened fairly quickly as the sharing economy started developing in the States, and we can talk about that, right? Some of the early stakeholders that you might be familiar with are like Uber and Lyft, and some of those are other companies. So we're going to talk about how they sit in the space, and then also just a little bit more history regarding the space, and some things that you can do in order to take advantage. So let's go ahead and hop in, ladies and germs. And so, yeah, it doesn't look like I can share my screen with you, but it's all good. I'm going to include a link into the comment section of this message. So, first slide of the deck is swimming through the gig economy. And so what we're going to be covering today, we've talked a little bit already about, my philosophies and, why I wanted to talk to you guys about this stuff. Next up, we're going to be talking about the new era of business and, how the gig economy was able to develop as a result of, just the way that business has been trending as a result of technology and the internet. We're going to talk about some problems that are occurring in the gig economy and some ways for you guys to avoid some of those problems. We're going to talk about how the gig economy has changed the culture in terms of the way that we do business. We're going to talk about where the gig economy is going, faces of the gig economy, and then we'll talk about some ways that you guys can participate. So first up, guys, for me, again, the biggest thing is I want to be the best possible version of me, best possible version of my company, which is what drives me, right? So I believe that business and the people, the systems, the processes, and the things that make up business all have something really important to say. So Startup Sharks, my consultancy, which is responsible for teaching you guys this stuff, we believe in the power of leveraging your best possible version in order to deliver values to the people, or deliver value, excuse me, to the people that you want to serve, right? So I believe in traditional business philosophies, but certainly I want to combine those with new techniques and new technologies meant for today's generation of entrepreneurs to provide a new school of thought. So that being said, let's hop into it. What the hell is the gig economy? Somebody who is known for popularizing the phrase gig economy is a writer, journalist, and editor named Tina Brown. Tina Brown, one of her quotes is, to people I know in the bottom income brackets, living paycheck to paycheck, the gig economy has been old news for years. What's new is a way that it's hit the demographic. What's new is a way it's hit the demographic that used to assume that a college degree from an elite school was a passport to job security. And I think that that says everything in a nutshell, right? So the biggest thing for me is I went to a 4-year college. I told you guys I got kicked out of school. The reason why I did that was I felt the pressures of living in our culture, everyone telling you that if you want to be successful, that you're going to have to go and get your 4-year degree, you're going to have to get your MBA, you're going to have to go to law school. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? What the internet allows you to do is allows you to have access to a bunch of new resources that you can use to educate yourself, right? So whatever it is that you're looking to do, or whoever it is that you're looking to serve, well, the internet's a great equalizer for everyone, right? Which is exactly one of the reasons why the gig economy was able to develop. People are starting to understand, well, hey, a college degree doesn't necessarily automatically mean I'm going to be successful. A college degree is something for me to do for 4 years, and yes, I'm going to have a piece of paper, but that doesn't necessarily mean long-term success, right? Like, what's happening? Like, the old myth was that you go to high school, go to college, graduate, get a high-paying job. After you get your high-paying job, within a couple years, get married, have a couple kids, buy a house, get to retire, live happily ever after. That's not the case anymore, right? That fairy tale is gone. And we can debate it and fight it for forever and ever, but if we're talking about today's current climate, I don't believe that we've been in debt or in more debt than in any other time of our lives. We're typically seeing that people don't stick around for companies for 20 plus years. Buying a house, and especially in a city like Los Angeles, is nearly impossible unless you're in the bottom or in the top. I would say 30 to 25% of those income generators. And again, it's just job security is starting to change through we're starting to see the effects of like automation and AI and bots and all that kind of stuff, right? So that fairy tale that was sold to us when we were growing up, millennials specifically, is gone, right? And so what do? Do you respond to the changes, or do you try to maintain the status quo and just try to make the old reality a new one? And that's just not the way that I operate, right? So Startup Sharks exist because we are aware of what is happening in the market, what is happening with our culture, what's happening in business. And rather than just sitting there and letting things happen to us, well, no, we want to respond, right? And so that the gig economy has been one of those responses to what's been happening in the space. So when we talk about a new era in business, well, the biggest thing that we're really going to want to pay attention to is to the Great Recession, which I believe started in 2012, right? We just started seeing a slowdown in the economic growth of not just America, but well, it started, well, we can talk about like where it started, but in terms of it having an effect on us and our culture, well, that had repercussions from an international perspective, right? In 2018, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released a report which found that 16.5 million people are working in a contingent or alternative work arrangement. So that includes work for companies like Uber, Lyft, and Airbnb, right? So people are just looking for, depending on who you are, maybe you're looking, the Great Recession affected you, so maybe you're looking for ways to supplement your income, or maybe you lost your job, and so you're looking for an opportunity to generate new income while you're looking for something new, right? In 2017, free